yesterday that during the first 2 games, he's had early interceptions. After those early interceptions, he's caught on fire. Paul can't afford any interceptions tonight if Tulsa wants to score points against this tough Oklahoma defense.
So we have 2 quarterbacks each having a great start to the season, and tonight we'll get a look at arguably the best receiver in the country, Malcolm Kelly. 14 catches through 3 games, 7 of them for touchdowns. The opening kickoff from Tulsa right after this.
ESPN's College Football Prime Time, brought to you by ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
Robbie Knievel buses and a canyon, a jet engine, and a double world record jump in the making. Sounds like he is about to come out. There he goes. Oh, yeah! It's a terrible scene, ladies and gentlemen. He is on fire. Robbie! Oh, my God. Robbie. There's Robbie over there. Robbie, let me just ask you a quick question. What happened? Did someone talk some sense into you?
No, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Stay smart. Stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Luann has a knife!
Put the knife down.
Luann, what are you doing?
I'm having lunch from KFC. It's real food, which requires a fork and a knife.
It's KFC, people.
Have a real meal for lunch. Come to KFC for any of our new $2.99 deals. World-famous chicken, choice of a side, and a flaky biscuit. Grab lunch for just $2.99. KFC chicken now has the same great taste with 0 grams of trans fat per serving.
ESPN 2 Friday night college football is broadcast in high definition and presented by Pioneer Curo HD TV. A lot to talk about tonight. Bob Davie will join us here in the booth. Lou Holtz via the miracle of satellite. We'll talk about the problems for the Irish. Making a case for number 1, which has been the best team so far, who should be number 1. And as always, we'll preview tomorrow's top games. But first, we check in down on the field with Joe Shad.
Love to have played for a program like Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. A little too small, arm not strong enough. And so even though he's one of Oklahoma's all-time schoolboy passing leaders, not a scholarship available. Oklahoma coach Bob Stoops told me you can't recruit every player. Paul Smith admitted his feelings were hurt then. He has a chance tonight to hurt Oklahoma Sooners fans' feelings.
He has been terrific helping to rebuild this Tulsa program. Tulsa won the toss and deferred, so Oklahoma will receive. One of the most dangerous kickoff men in the country, back deep, Reggie Smith. Oklahoma is 8th in the nation in kickoff returns, averaging 29 as a team per return, and Tulsa's had trouble with their kickoff. They used 3 different kickers to kick off last week against BYU. They'll start tonight with Jared Tracy. And this in-state rival is underway. Joaquin Iglesias. Across the 30 and out at the 32. Let's meet the Oklahoma offense, introduced by 2003 Heisman Trophy winner Jason White.
The Sooner offense starts with quarterback Sam Bradford. He's completing nearly 80% of his passes and broke my consecutive completions record 2 times. The receivers are big and fast. I would have loved to throw to Malcolm Kelly. The line is huge, averaging more than 320 pounds. It's the biggest in school history. Those guys are Sam's best friends.
And they average 6'5", 322 pounds. Todd Graham, the Tulsa coach, thinks they're the best offensive line in the country. Bradford opens out of the shotgun with a lot of time behind that line. And he's right on target to Malcolm Kelly to the 49-yard line of the Golden Hurricane. Their defense, introduced by Tulsa Hall of Famer Dennis Byrd.
Brandon Jones and Moten Hopkins do a wonderful job as a tag team duo anchoring the defensive line. Nelson Coleman and Chris Chamberlain are the heart and soul of this Tulsa defense. Don't be surprised if you see Chamberlain on offense. He's already scored a touchdown. And carrying the big stick for the Tulsa secondary is Anthony Germany and Stephen Craver.
The defense that gave up 694 yards last week in a win over BYU, 55-47. Alan Patrick rips through, so after an 18-yard completion to Malcolm Kelly, 14 on the run for this balanced Oklahoma attack. Randy Duncan made the tackle.
We see the big offensive line there getting pushed on the linebackers. They're changing the line of scrimmage, and Tulsa's coming out in that old 3-3-5. They're fine on the flanks, but there's a lot of bubbles at that line of scrimmage. Look for Oklahoma to attack them right up the gut.
Patrick comes into tonight averaging nearly 11 yards per carry on 15 rushes, 10.7 to be precise. He's tackled here by Charles Davis after a gain of 4. Oklahoma's offense averaging 61.3 points per game. Number 1 in the country. They're 3rd in total offense at 565 yards per game for Bob Stoops in his 9th year as head coach.
Here's Tulsa's defense. You understand with this powerful offense, they're going to move the football. This is where you have to stiffen up as they approach the red zone.
Well, they are balanced. This is DeMarco Murray, the talented freshman. Short of the first down to the Tulsa 28-yard line. Alan Karatapian made the tackle, and then he came off the field. I believe an injury and equipment problem.
He's tapping his head. It must be the helmet problem where he got a shot to the noodle.
Mike Bryan takes his place. Bryan, the son of a former Oklahoma All-American, Rick Bryan, who played for the Atlanta Falcons. 3rd down and 2. They keep it on the ground with Murray. First down. And he powers all the way down to the 5-yard line, dragging Tulsa defenders, most notably Randy Duncan with him, Roy Robertson to help. That's a 23-yard gain. This is the 4th game of the season for Oklahoma. This is their 20th play of 20 yards or more.
One of the things about running backs is which makes them good, and you don't usually see it from a young freshman, is their vision. Right there, DeMarco Murray starts left and understanding the weakness of the defense with all the bubbles in the 3-3-5, hits the cutback hole. And interesting enough, Sean, I saw 3 Tulsa defenders on their back. That shows you the dominance that is possible with this big, huge Oklahoma offensive line.
If there was any question about whether or not the Oklahoma team would be ready to play their first road game of the year after rolling over their first 3 opponents, I think that question has been answered. You can see the intensity on their team, and particularly in head coach Bob Stoops. These Oklahoma seniors have had an up-and-down ride early in their careers, playing for national championships. That 2005 season, the first since 1999, when they did not have double digits in wins. And then, of course, last year, the quarterback situation, Rick Bomar dismissed, Paul Thompson thrown into the mix. And I think given all that, they had a very good year, going 10-3, winning the Big 12, going to the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, but it ended on a bad note. And Coach Stoops doesn't like to talk about that much, but it still ended on a bad note. But they built off of that loss against Boise.
1st and goal, Chris Brown in at tailback, part of that 3-man rotation, and he gets driven down at the line of scrimmage by Nelson Coleman, their best defender, on his way to leading the Golden Hurricane in tackles for the 3rd year in a row.
That time they did a good job. The defensive line of Tulsa didn't get pushed back, and they were able to create penetration, causing the offensive linemen.
Offense. The down counts. It's a 15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
There's a Big 12 officiating crew. Oklahoma from the Big 12. Tulsa plays in Conference USA. So that's a big penalty. The down counts. The play went for no gain. It'll be 2nd and goal from just outside the 20.
Now, if I'm Tulsa, my ears are up, and I'm looking at number 4, Malcolm Kelly. He's lined up top up there. He's a guy that can make plays. Big, tall receiver in the red zone.
On the ground, it's given to Brown. He's more of a north-south runner among the 3 running backs. We'll see Patrick, Brown, and Murray, as we have already. And offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson says that really doesn't matter. They're so similar. Any of them can be in the game at any time. They don't necessarily put them in according to what play or formation they want to be in. A 4-yard gain there for Brown, a sophomore from Alexandria, Louisiana.
You know, the college football imitates pro football. You see the two-back system in the NFL. In college, you're seeing more.
3 wide receivers all to the right of Bradford on 3rd down and goal. He throws short and it is intercepted. Roy Roberts brings it back to the 37-yard line. And looks like he pulled a hamstring in the process.
That's a tough loss for them. If he's their best cover corner, he was going to match up with Malcolm Kelly. Roberts 1, Bradford 0. Bradford looked at Kelly the whole way. He's going to run a little hitch route right here. Roberts jumps it because he's reading the quarterback's eyes. He's not even looking at Kelly. He's reading the quarterback's eyes and does a good job of going up and finishing. Now, if Sam would have been a little bit more patient, he had Manuel Johnson running to the back corner of the end zone. He had 6 points, but he made up his mind before the ball was snapped. A young quarterback mistake right there.
And just the 2nd interception thrown by Bradford this year as compared to 11 touchdown passes. But the big story for Tulsa, the injury to Roy Roberts. As Chris said, the plan was for him to match up as often as possible tonight with Malcolm Kelly, and that doesn't look good. 6th career interception for the junior from Ardmore, Oklahoma. Last week, he brought one back 49 yards for a touchdown against BYU, his first career touchdown.
See right there, when a guy pulls a hamstring, you know it right away. See, he goes to the back of his leg. Usually you don't see that in the beginning of the game. Guys are usually warmed up, especially those DBs. All those muscles are loosey-goosey, ready to go. He's not loosey-goosey enough.
So now Tulsa on offense, and they've been prolific in their 2 wins over Louisiana Monroe and BYU. And here's one of the skills of Paul Smith. He took a shot in the back from Curtis Lofton after a 3-yard gain. The offense introduced again by Dennis Byrd.
From Wausau, Oklahoma, Paul Smith will lead the offense, one of the nation's finest quarterbacks. Leading a very talented backfield, Terry and Adams, multi-dimensional players able to catch the ball out of the backfield, as well as having the speed to stretch the field vertically. And anchoring a very large offensive line is Justin Morton.
And Smith showing his elusiveness again. Almost to the 1st down marker, about a yard short, tackled by Curtis Lofton, their leading tackler. Morrissey, the only returning starter on that offensive line, but they've played well, giving Smith protection. Only T.J. Rubley's thrown for more yards than Paul Smith.
And they will be tested tonight. Oklahoma's going to run 9 deep at him at that defensive line position. Fresh bodies coming at you.
Little quick screen, and it's Trey Johnson. Part of 4 very talented freshmen, big playmakers on this offense. A gain of 7 and a 1st down. The Oklahoma defense introduced by Jason White.
The Sooner defense leads the nation in tackles for loss, thanks to the hard work of the guys up front. Middle linebacker Curtis Lofton, in Oklahoma just like me, leads the team in tackles. And the secondary has 2 Thorpe Award candidates, including cornerback Reggie Smith.
2nd in the nation in total defense, giving up under 180 yards per game. Terry and Adams on 1st and 10 from the Oklahoma 48, got a yard. Ryan Reynolds, the linebacker, made the tackle. Smith 19-9 in his career as a starter. As Joe Shad told you, is from Oklahoma. Not recruited by OU, despite the fact that he went to their camps. And he said, hey, I was 6'1", 165 pounds coming out of high school. Smith has a man wide open, 1st down and much more. Jesse Meyer. Inside the 20 to the 19-yard line, where Marcus Walker brought him down.
Makes a complete quarterback is the ability to handle the ball, a la Peyton Manning. Then when you have a guy wide open like that, you throw strikes. And right there, Paul Smith delivered the strike to Meyer. Oklahoma looked a little confused. They had 2 guys covering 1, covering dirt.
It is a very good Tulsa offense. The handoff to the freshman Charles Clay. breaking tackles, and then perhaps a late hit out of bounds. Ryan Reynolds got him across the boundary, and there was some late polish over there from Austin English. But no flags down. He's out of bounds at the 15. He'll need 6 more on 3rd down.
Again, anytime you have an aggressive defense, any misdirection that you can use. Ooh, that could have been a little late. Just a little. Well, he put a move on Reggie Smith, the All-American, gave him the leg and took it away.
Smith. In the end zone, caught. Touchdown, Tulsa. Jess Meyer again with Wendy Holmes in coverage.
Paul Smith gets away with one right here. He's late on this throw. He missed him late, but he still has the ability and a strong enough arm throwing across his body to deliver it on time. Again, confusion in the Sooner secondary.
First touchdown of the season for Meyer. He had only 3 catches combined in their first 2 games. He had 2 key grabs on that touchdown drive. A big change of momentum in the early moments, and Tulsa leads Oklahoma 7-0.
When it's people who do the right thing, they call it being responsible. When it's an insurance company, they call it Liberty Mutual. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual.
When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Professional driver on a closed course.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Touareg 2 V6 for only $399 a month.
This thing just won't leave. All I want to do is kick back and watch my DirecTV. I mean, I just got the best TV package in the universe for free.
Ask how to get our best TV package free for 4 months.
Has anybody ever had skunky beer? Light destroys beer.
Any light can skunk a beer, not just Sunlight.
Clear and green bottles let in light, which can turn traditionally brewed beer skunky. Brown bottles protect better.
We have 21 award-winning varieties. Every one comes in a brown bottle. And we also use higher 6-packs to protect it from the light.
We use only the old-fashioned pry-off caps.
Twist-offs let in more oxygen. We want to prevent that from happening. We put so much care into brewing the beer that we want to protect it.
Today, she's so hot.
Oh!
It hurts.
This is gonna be the best night of your life.
Good Luck Chuck. Rated R. In theaters today.
Well, Oklahoma took the opening kickoff, marched down to the 5-yard line. Todd Graham, a timely timeout. Oklahoma backed up, turned it over, and Tulsa goes the length of the field, 63 yards in 7 plays. Bradford interception, Paul Smith a touchdown pass.
A killer penalty too, Sean. 15 yards for personal foul, then a turnover. Tulsa needs those timely penalties and timely turnovers to hang in.
Ricky Drake picks off this time. It is dropped and then picked up by Iglesias, and he won't reach the 15, although there's a flag down, perhaps for a face mask. Coverage team led by Mike Bryan, the son of a former Sooner, all fired up, but might have been a face mask, just a 5-yard return after the bobble by Joaquin Iglesias.
Holding 29 on the
Actually, it's a hold
half the distance to the goal
against Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think they got a hold on Joe John. Fine tight end, trying to protect his man. A lot of times you grab from behind to prevent the gang tackling. Tulsa's got energy.
Boy, Oklahoma looked great on that opening drive before the timeout. Then the personal foul penalty. The interception. But now on defense, Tulsa without their best cover corner, Roy Roberts. Trying to deal with this stable of talented wide receivers led by Malcolm Kelly. John Destin is into the ball game to replace Roberts. And on first down, nothing doing. Alan Patrick wrapped up by Brandon Jones. There's Destin, a junior from Belgrade, Florida. Junior college transfer from Rock Valley in Illinois. They're high on him, but they were hoping he'd be playing mostly as a backup tonight.
Again, but that limits what they can do as far as man coverage. They felt like Roberts could match up.
On the 4, again, nowhere to run for Patrick. Moten Hopkins, the junior from Converse, Texas, made the stop.
Well, the defensive line woke up. Oklahoma came out and punched him in the mouth. Tulsa's defensive line said enough. Now they're changing the line of scrimmage. It'll be interesting to watch. You look at the massive size of Oklahoma in a pretty hot night tonight and see if that takes a toll.
87 degrees with 50% humidity at kickoff. And a breeze out of the south-southeast at 10 miles per hour. Timeout called by Tulsa. Well, Todd Graham has already used 2 timeouts. He said when we visited with him yesterday, Coach Graham, I believe we can do it. More importantly, our players believe we can do it. He said the first quarter's a key. If we're in the ball game at the end of the first quarter, I think we'll be in the ball game to stay.
Again, a lot of things have to happen and go. There were timely penalties. We had to add a timely turnover in the red zone. Then they capitalize on that. If they can capitalize on that, Paul Smith's going to make plays. It's not his first rodeo. He knows how to get it done. I just threw that in because we're in Oklahoma.
Yes.
So you understand that.
I did, yes.
So he's a confident kid, and I do believe he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, Sean.
He felt their win last week over BYU here was the biggest of his time here at Tulsa, but obviously a win tonight against Oklahoma would be that much bigger. A lot bigger. 3rd down and 11. Bradford standing on the goal line as he takes the snap under duress. Short over the middle and incomplete. Thrown a little bit behind Joaquin Iglesias. And now the Sooners will have to punt out of their own end zone.
And this is Bradford looks a little rattled. He's staring down his receivers. 3rd and 11. They throw about a 5-yard route, which would have been tackled short of the sticks. He's got to give his team a chance. He just looks a little bit rattled, and he's playing the defense that has confidence against his team. 2 years ago, they held Oklahoma to 17 points.
Michael Cohen, the former walk-on, to punt. That's about at the back line of the end zone. Kay Johnson is back deep for the punt. High kick, but short. And Johnson a fair catch at the 47-yard line. Tulsa begins in plus field position with a 7-0 lead.
I'm walking.
You get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
I'll sing it.
It's not just color that makes your home. It's the way you put it all together. At Sherwin-Williams, you'll find incredible colors, coordinating palettes, and design inspiration, plus everything you need for any decorating project. And when you find the right color, you'll save 25% on a wide selection of paints and stains. So stop in, and we'll help you make your house your home for painting and decorating.
Jumbo popcorn chicken, huh?
I know, and how about this creamy chipotle sauce?
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah, this is totally portable, you know?
Yeah, you could sneak this into a movie theater if you wanted.
yeah.
Or a baseball game,
Yep,
you know?
or another
whatever.
Sonic.
What are you saying, that you would just bring these over to another Sonic and then just kind of sit there and eat them?
Got him!
Jumbo popcorn chicken, now at Sonic. Portable all-white meat chicken with our new creamy chipotle sauce or any of our other great sauces. Pay the Sonic way. Swipe your credit or My Sonic card from your car.
Most people go through life following Plan A. It's predictable, it's expected, it's routine. But what if you're not a Plan A kind of person? Welcome to Plan B from Brother. Our new color laser printers and all-in-ones are for those who make the better choice, not the obvious one. With more performance, more speed, more affordability. So make the smarter decision. We call it Plan B. Brother, at your side.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Volkswagen. When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. And your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams paint store. For your next decorating project, ask Sherwin-Williams.
It is tailgate week, presented by Kingsford, and they tell us that is smoked bologna.
I'll take it.
Yeah, not surprising. Take anything that's edible. I'm not sure if smoked bologna is edible, but if it is, you will take it. Tulsa 7-0 lead and beginning this possession in Oklahoma territory at the 47-yard line. Paul Smith. Great elusiveness, then threw it up for grabs and almost intercepted. Broken up by Lendy Holmes.
Roberts right there, the interception, setting up great field position. Paul Smith with the fadeaway to Meyer in the end zone.
The only score of the game. Roberts seemed to injure his hamstring on the play, has not returned. Already seen the elusiveness of Paul Smith, and we spoke with Gus Malzahn, the offensive coordinator. He said that's the quarterback's greatest skill. Nice defensive play by Nick Harris, the free safety. Players continued thinking it might be a lateral, but it was ruled an incomplete forward pass. And it'll be 3rd down and 10.
And Nick Harris, with his size at 6'3", went up there with the rejection. A good read by Nick to pull off of his blitz and recognize the quick passing route, getting a big paw in the throwing lane.
A touchdown scored by Tulsa, just the 3rd given up by the Oklahoma defense this year. And this Sooner D has scored 3 touchdowns this year, 1 in each game. And had 2 interception returns for a score and 1 fumble return. The blitz coming. It's dumped off short to the freshman Charles Clay. Where will they mark it? Going to be very close to that yellow line. He was tripped up by Curtis Lofton. He's coming off a career-high 12 tackles last week against Utah State.
I think with the mark there, they had the first down. Charles Clay, an interesting story how he came to Tulsa. One thing I watched him in practice Wednesday, tremendous burst. I don't know if you noticed that. He had a different gear once he got that pigskin in his hands.
It is a first down. Charles Clay was highly recruited from Arkansas out of Little Rock Central. When Todd Graham and his staff got the job late in the recruiting period after Steve Cragthorpe left and went to Louisville, Gus Malzahn, who had coached in Arkansas a long time in high school and last year for the Razorbacks, made contact with Clay but never got his phone call returned about 2 weeks before the signing day. Here's some trickery as they lined up Smith out wide, and now he throws off the flip. And incomplete in the end zone, looking for Jess Meyer. That's kind of textbook Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn said, yeah, I didn't get a call back, and I've known the family and parents for a while and Charles Clay, so I figured he just wasn't interested. 1 hour before the signing deadline, Charles Clay called the Tulsa coaches and said, I'm just calling you back. If you still have that scholarship for me, I'd like to come. And he decided he wanted to play in this wide-open offense for Gus Malzahn and bypassed Arkansas and Miami, among others.
Get to see the smile on Coach Malzahn's face telling that story. If you're a true freshman, I'm telling you, if you're playing at this level, and a high level that he's playing at, he's a special football player.
On 2nd and 10, he's sacked. First sack of the night for Oklahoma. DeMarcus Granger leading the way. It's a defense that has averaged 3.3 sacks per game, 12th in the nation through the first 3 games of the year.
Again, that's what they do. Brett Venables, the defensive coordinator, rolls a lot of guys in. Granger was in the coach's doghouse a little bit, has worked his way out. And when you have fresh bodies with that size and athleticism, it's tough to match up for the smaller, less experienced Tulsa offensive line.
Granger's the cousin of Danny Granger of the Indiana Pacers. the strongest player on their team. He benches nearly 450. Smith throws, and it is juggled and still caught right at the first down line. Boy, it's Jesse Meyer again. And where are they going to spot it? He was battling for forward progress on the first down. Those defenders led by Marcus Walker trying to pull him back.
Not many guys can throw across their body like Paul Smith. Again, his vision, being patient, gets his shoulder square to his target and is able to deliver the football. And right here, Meyer, great job knowing he's going to get popped. And this is disturbing. You see 8 or 6 Oklahoma defenders right there. Meyer's not on the ground. You got a receiver carrying around 6 defenders. You better wake up. That's ridiculous. Wake up, Oklahoma. Get them down. Get physical, baby.
Called by Tulsa. They're last. With 6:50 to go in the first quarter, Todd Graham knows how important it is for his team to get off to a good start. He's using all of his timeouts to try to help them do that. Smith winded on this warm night. It's a great weekend of college football. Tomorrow, 3:30 on ABC. Number 10 Penn State facing one of the toughest games on their schedule. They're at Michigan. Most of the Nittany Lions tough games are at home this year. The Nittany Lions have lost 8 in a row to Michigan. A lot of people have the Nittany Lions in the national championship picture.
You see, Anthony Morelli's got to continue to improve and get better. If he plays better, got a good as chance as anyone. Got Ohio State at home at night. Very successful.
Here's Joe Shad.
Sean, following up on your Penn State-Michigan thought, Chad Henne is available for tomorrow's game as a Michigan quarterback, but he's not going to start. It will be the true freshman, Ryan Mallett. Mike Hart told me he has a little bit of concern about the exchange between center and quarterback and him.
Whistles before the snap on this 4th down and 1 play, and a timeout called by Oklahoma. Bob Stoops and Brent Venables didn't like the way their defense was aligned against that formation.
Sean, I just want to go back to my point about the wide receiver holding up 6 defenders, and I get excited about that because there's no way that a wide receiver, when you're a defender, you take the ball carrier back because of the spot. That officials, they don't bat 1,000%. You get his rear end, you pick him up and take it back. And plus, nobody came for that football. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th man did come in striking at that ball. This tackle was secure. You got to start getting violent. And I know an Oklahoma defense, when I see it, and they're a little bit shaken right now. They've had a couple blown coverages, and when I don't see receivers going to the ground, if I'm Brett Venables, I call a timeout.
Co-defensive coordinator along with Bobby Jack Wright. Venables does most of the defense calling during the game. One of the best assistants in the country. He was a finalist for the Frank Broyles Award last year to the top assistant coach in the nation. So here they come again, a big 4th down and 1. Tulsa just inside the Oklahoma 28, trying to build on a 7-0 lead.
Chamberlain at linebacker, playing running back.
And they direct snapped it to him. I don't think he made it. This is the Wildcat formation. He did not make it. That Gus Malzahn introduced as the offensive coordinator at Arkansas last year, when he'd line up in the shotgun with Darren McFadden taking the direct snap. And they did not get it. Oklahoma takes over on down.
It's a big stop for Oklahoma again. Lofton protected as the middle linebacker comes free through the hole. Linebacker on linebacker. One linebacker has the ball in his hands. Not used to having the ball in his hands. I take the linebacker making the tackle, and he won. Good job by Lofton stepping up and beating the play behind the line of scrimmage as opposed to catching.
From the 28, 1st and 10 Sooners. Alan Patrick, the tailback. And he's tripped up after a gain of 2 by Steve Craver, the Bandit. Senior from Hurst, Texas. One of the very few players on this Tulsa team who was recruited by Oklahoma. Craver originally signed with Nebraska out of high school where his brother played. Didn't qualify academically, went to junior college and wound up here at Tulsa.
So the advantage of the 3-3-5, you take the Bandit and the strong safety, you put them up at the line of scrimmage. There's not a lot of places to run outside. The bubbles are in the middle.
2 wide receivers. Patrick the lone back. We went into Nelson Coleman and Chris Chamberlain. Now Dari Noka with a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
All right, guys, all-time home run king Barry Bonds will play next season, but not for the Giants. That's what he said on his personal website. He said the Giants told him he wasn't in their plans for 2008. And injured Bills tight end Kevin Everett was taken from Buffalo to Houston today to be closer to home as he recovers from his spinal cord injury. Doctors plan to have him stand on his own in the next few days. Details at Sports Center, 11 Eastern. You can stay current with ESPN News.
A blitz. Bradford got away from it and runs out very near that yellow line. Will they mark him with a first down? It appears they will at the 39-yard line. Nelson Coleman chased him out, but it's a 6-yard pickup for the redshirt freshman from Oklahoma City, Sam Bradford.
A good awareness by Sam Bradford. They didn't pick up the zone blitz by Nelson Coleman, who flushed him. And Bradford, where the awareness on the field of knowing where the first down was, getting there without taking a shot.
Bradford in a three-way competition in the preseason to be the starting quarterback. He was not head and shoulders above Joey Halsey or Keith Nickel. The coaches felt with his poise, he was best equipped to start the year, and it's been demonstrated with his play. They made a good decision. DeMarco Murray tackled by Chris Chamberlain after a gain of 2.
Well, this is where Tulsa's defense has to stay patient. They know that this is a powerful offense. Great skilled players are going to make their plays. Just keep your gap integrity. Everybody has a job in an area to protect. Protect it with everything you have.
And Roberts still has not returned to the field for Tulsa. The defense fights on without him. Iglesias taken down by Charles Davis, and here's Joe Shadd.
Sean, it does not look good for Roy Roberts. Tulsa does not reveal injury information, but they have tried everything. They've tried to stretch out that right hamstring. They've tried to ice it. They now have it wrapped in a huge ice pack. This game was so important for Roberts. You know, his cousin, Jermaine Gresham, is an Oklahoma tight end.
And they were very close. He was really looking forward to playing against Gresham. And the Sooners made a key play early, but might not return. Bradford hit it, he throws, but got it to Iglesias for another first down. Another third down conversion. Nelson Coleman was rushing the passer, but Bradford hung in there, got it to Iglesias. 4-5. Iglesias, their leading receiver through the first 3 games with 19 catches, averaging 16 yards per reception.
Yeah, a good route runner. Again, another options, but Oklahoma's offensive line better figure out how to block a zone blitz, or Bradford will be taking about a bottle of Advil on the drive back to Norman.
He's only been sacked a couple of times this year, but Kevin Wilson, the coordinator, says he's taken way too many hits. He throws it up deep. There's a flag down. Some bumping along the near sideline between Joaquin Iglesias and Charles Davis.
Take a look here. We'll see Charles Davis right there. You got to keep your hand off.
It's number 24 on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
I'm usually pro defender on that, and Charles, you're in great position. You don't need to do that. Look and lean, baby. Slap his hand. You don't need to go bump him. You're on top of him.
So the walk-off to the 35-yard line. Tulsa, and Brandon Jones is the injured nose guard for the Golden Hurricane, senior from Duncanville, Texas. Veteran, 39 career games, 11 of them starts. And he plays all over that 3-man front. They play that 3-3-5 defense. They basically have 8 players on 2 feet, reading the ball with the chance to defend the pass or rush from just about anywhere.
And that nose guard is the key to the whole 3-3-5. If you're weak at nose, then you're vulnerable everywhere else. If you got a hog and a tough man, boy dog warrior at nose guard, you got a shot, because they'll demand double teams and they'll hold the point and they'll get penetration. It'll hurt them if they lose Brandon. They usually play 2 of them. You have Nimmons in there right now, who splits time with Brandon, but he could get tired.
Jones goes out there, 2 of their best defenders out. And movement at the left end of the line.
79 offense, 5 yards, first down.
Tough to miss when Phil Lodeholt moves. 6'8", the tallest player in the history of Oklahoma football, 352 pounds. And he can move. He has good feet. As Coach Wilson said, he's a good knee bender for a guy that size. Helps him with leverage in the blocking game.
Again, the size of these guys, 6'8", 350. 322 across the board. A lot of meat.
Alan Patrick, the lone back, burst through a big hole. And got belted by Randy Duncan and then gave a little whip to Duncan. Patrick ahead for 11. Inside the 30-yard line, down at the 29, 4 yards short of a first down.
Here's the bubbles that I've been talking about. You have these bubbles right here. That's the area that is vulnerable, and you'll see it happen right now as the play starts. The bubbles in the cutback lane, when you got a body on the body, Brian's got to get over there. It's tough. When you have those big bubbles, it's easy to change the line of scrimmage.
7 rushes for 31 yards for Patrick. 3 tight ends in the game for Oklahoma. Patrick, a nice bounce outside. First down. Touchdown. You know, he high-stepped awfully early, and you wonder if he thought he was in the end zone when he was at the 5-yard line, because the goal line is a different color and very hard to see. It's a very faded gold, where the other major lines on the field are all white. And I don't know if he knew he was in the end zone when he started doing this routine.
Yeah. Randy Duncan threw the no-hitter. That's good in baseball, bad in football. Randy Duncan had him in his sights, and you see the nice little shake and bake, shimmy it for Alan Patrick.
I don't think the coaches like his version of the Rockettes either. Extra point up and good from Garrett Hartley, one of the best kickers in the country. And Oklahoma, after a 4th down stand, drives the field and gets the tying score. 3:20 to go in the first half, 7-all.
Knocked Up, the funniest, raunchiest, most quotable movie.
She looks smart.
Just got funnier.
This is like a scene out of Aliens.
Raunchier.
I'm going in.
And more quotable.
Are you with me, Disco Stew?
Knocked Up, the unrated and unprotected edition. Out at Tuesday.
Hey, Kevin. What do you think about my Domino's Oreo dessert pizza mustache?
It's super chocolatey.
Right on, Kevin. Right on.
Domino's new warm and chocolatey Oreo dessert pizza. Just $3.99 with any purchase. Call or order online.
I really like Florida in this one. Their offense is unstoppable.
This desk is a little wobbly.
That ought to do it. Hey, Coach, got a little bevel action over here?
Unfortunately, someone never returned my router, so that's got to wait.
Thanks, Herbie.
Sorry, bro.
ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
As you may have already heard, the Maricopa County Attorney recently announced a new Get Tough policy for serious criminal cases. Plead to the most serious charge or go to trial. At Phillips & Associates, we understand that there is often a reasonable explanation or defense, and we also believe you are innocent until proven guilty. At Phillips & Associates, our experienced aggressive trial attorneys can help you. Call now, 602-258-8888.
This year, don't miss your chance to catch Dave Matthews Band live in concert. Dave Matthews Band, one of the best live shows you'll ever experience.
September 25th at Cricket Pavilion. Tickets on sale now.
The best lights, the best sound, the best songs. DMB Live this summer.
It is Tailgate Week, presented by Kingsford. College football primetime on this Friday night. Oklahoma and Tulsa tied at 7. Alan Patrick, the star of that drive. He rushed for 44 yards, including the 29-yard touchdown. Carried 4 times on that possession. 7 out of the 8 plays on the drive were rushes.
Oklahoma started off that turnover. Their turnover meaning the 4th and 1 stop that woke up their defense. If Oklahoma gets that running game going, that's when Malcolm Kelly, Iglesias, will get going.
Oklahoma is balanced. 12th in the nation in passing and 13th in rushing. Coming in. Garrett Hardley kicks off. Down to the goal line to Brennan Marion. And he decided to stay in the end zone, only a yard or two deep. Once again, here's Dari Noka.
All right, guys, so we're enjoying OU and TU on ESPN2, but over on ESPN, you can watch a little baseball. Braves leading 1-0 on the Brewers, who need to win to stay within a game and a half of the Cubs in the National League Central. Atlanta trying for a 6th straight win. They're still not out, 4.5 behind the Mets. That's what's on ESPN.
All right, Dari, thank you. Excellent football action tonight here on ESPN2. Paul Smith and the Golden Hurricane back on offense. And they dropped the handoff. Terrian Adams lost it. And he got back on it, but it'll be a 9-yard loss.
And the Paul's there looking at Terrian saying, I'm supposed to give it to you. Terrian said, no, that was supposed to be a fake. A miscommunication. You see Terrian's looking to block somebody. He doesn't even realize that the ball was given to him. Did do a good job of readjusting and getting on the loose ball. Miscommunication.
Of course, this is a new offense for Tulsa this year. They played a pro-style attack under Steve Cragthorpe. He left to become the head coach at Louisville. Smith couldn't find anybody open. Now throws deep on the run and almost found a receiver. Going deep for Brennan Marion. DJ Wolf, one of the safeties, had the coverage. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Yeah, Paul Smith kicking himself. You saw him slap the AstroTurf there in a little bit of disgust. Excuse me, field turf nowadays. He had a shot to make a play. And not a difficult play, but one that certainly Paul Smith is capable of making.
Gus Malzahn. Driving force behind this no-huddle spread offense. They like to play at a fast tempo. They'll go to the ground on 3rd and 19. They'll get 10 from Terrian Adams, but not enough. And they'll be forced to punt as we tick down near 2 minutes left in a very entertaining first quarter.
That's Oklahoma defense. Getting pressure, and I guarantee you Tulsa doesn't want to operate 15 yards behind the sticks.
Reggie Smith back for the punt. Michael Such to punt. He had one deflected last week by BYU. He's averaging just over 39 yards per punt this year. Smith from his own 35. Brings it back 15 yards to the 50 after a 44-yard punt. Tanner Andel made the tackle for the Golden Hurricane. Norman, Oklahoma, the home of the University of Oklahoma. They're the University of Oklahoma, but they're OU. It's 124 miles from Norman to the University of Tulsa, and they are TU. I don't understand that.
It's the way they do it in Oklahoma.
It's OU and TU, but they're the University of Oklahoma and the University of Tulsa. You think they'd be UO and UT. Bradford going deep, and his receiver Malcolm Kelly got twisted around. Good coverage there by John Destin, the sub who came in for Roy Roberts, who suffered a leg injury on a key first quarter interception.
Yeah, it was a matter of time before they want to test Destin. He passes the first test, and I would test him with, I think, the best wide receiver in the ballgame.
Say it was only a matter of destiny.
I'll go with that.
No, you won't. I didn't even get like the courtesy smile.
You're not going to be here all week.
Yeah, the truck it's very silent down there, too. I left down the entire crew. Alan Patrick, the ball carrier. Chris Chamberlain and Nelson Coleman, those backers, made the tackle. Coach Graham thinks both of his stalwart linebackers have a chance to play in the NFL. 8
years of experience, both of them 4-year starters. They have to play big. This is their signature game. One they'll take with them for the rest of their lives if they can pull the upset. Let her loose.
Todd Graham actively involved in calling the defenses. He was the defensive coordinator here for 3 years. Great pump fake by Bradford, and his man is wide open. It's Iglesias. Touchdown.
That's the setup. They've been setting that up. Why? I'll tell you why they set it up, because Roberts picked the same hitch route off. So what do? You come back, you fake the hitch. Charles Davis says, I want to be a star. You better be sure if you're a corner if you want to be a star and you jump this. It wasn't even that big of a fake. Charles Davis attacks, and Iglesias does a great job, an outstanding job of maneuvering his body, avoiding contact with Charles Davis, and just waiting for the ball to go to the promised land. Joaquin. One time.
And Malcolm Kelly is the headliner among the receivers, but Iglesias is having a prolific season as well. 46-yard touchdown pass, Bradford to Iglesias. Hartley the extra point, and Oklahoma leads for the first time tonight with 52 seconds left in the first quarter. And Todd Graham saying, yep, you don't really want to bite on that pump fake like that, Charles Davis.
And Charles Davis really, he wasn't even looking at the quarterback. He was playing Joaquin Iglesias man-to-man. But he's got to be disciplined. You want to make sure you keep that ball in front of you. They're going to go back to that now because, again, that was set up by the interception by Roy Roberts when Malcolm Kelly ran a hitch and Sam Bradford was looking right at him. Well, we'll try it the other side and see if Charles Davis got a little excited, saw touchdown. Instead, we saw Iglesias in his heels going into the end zone.
When we spoke with Todd Graham, he said we have a lot of very good players. The biggest difference between us and Oklahoma will be depth. You know, they have a lot of depth everywhere. We don't. And when you lose a guy like Roy Roberts very early in the game, you know that sooner or later that's going to have an effect.
Well, and you have to see if that's going to have an effect on Todd Graham and what defenses he can call. When you lose your best cover corner, that certainly can affect your game plan and how you attack Oklahoma's offense from a defensive standpoint.
Todd Graham's had an interesting history, particularly recently. 3 years here as the defensive coordinator under Steve Kragthorpe, 2003 through 2005. Roberts still on the bench and showing no signs of returning. And last year to Rice as head coach for 1 year, took them to a bowl game for the first time in 45 years. And when this job opened, he returned to Tulsa as head coach. Brennan Marion brought back the Hartley kickoff, 20 yards. And Tulsa, trailing for the first time tonight, will start this possession at its own 21-yard line as Gus Malzahn calls the plays on the sideline.
Well, they need positive yards. I mean, I know that's an overstatement. They need positive yards on first and second down. They can't be playing at first and 20, first and 25, second and 30. They got no shot.
Flags before.
False start, 82 offense. 5 yards, first down.
We're starting at first and 15.
Jacob Frank, which is a good name to have on tailgating week.
Please reset the game clock to 45 seconds. 45 seconds.
But you don't want to be penalized on this or any other week. 2 penalties for 20 yards against the Golden Hurricane. They got the big plays early, but momentum has shifted back to the Sooners. Here in the final minute of the first quarter. Terrion Adams lowered his head and got a wallop. He got a tough extra yard or two, lost his helmet in doing so. DJ Wolf delivered the hit. It's a gain of 9 for Tulsa.
But I like the aggressiveness of Terrion Adams right there, saying, I'll take you on. I'm not one of those running backs that's going to duck contact or look for the sidelines. We're going to find out. Nice contact between Wolf and Adams.
Courtney Keneal would have been the featured back this year, but he got injured in the preseason, blew out his Achilles, and will not play this year. He's a transfer from Oklahoma. Good work by Smith. He found Jesse Meyer, who's been his best receiver here in the first quarter, for 9 yards and a first down. And what could be the last play of the quarter if Tulsa elects to have that be the case. There's Courtney Keneal. Been a couple of years that Oklahoma did not play there. Transferred here, was the leading rusher for Tulsa last year, as they went 8-5 in Steve Kragthorpe's last season. End of the first quarter, Stoops and the Sooners up by a touchdown.
The Titans take on the Saints at 8:30 on ESPN Monday Night Football.
Fall in love with melty cheese. Taco Bell's new Cheesy Beefy Melt. To get seasoned beef, cool sour cream, melty, and even more glorious melty cheese, think outside the bun.
Great gear, great deals, and the great outdoors all meet up at Bass Pro Shops. This week, save up to 66% on select men's and ladies' sportswear, and Rocky Prowler boots are only $69.88. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
Oh, game day.
Like your breakfast.
Bergwood, your new car's rolling.
It's not stolen. I just bought it.
It's gonna hit that truck.
There's no need to swear. Hot car, huh?
On fire.
Do you have new car replacement? Call Allstate to sign up today. Are you in good hands?
Yesterday's history. Just a nice memory.
I never think about yesterday. The only day that matters is today.
Start today with Gillette Fusion Power and the confidence you get from the world's closest, most comfortable shave. Turn it on. Soothing micropulses help you reduce friction. You'll barely feel the blades. Gillette Fusion Power. Be your best today.
Sir, got your new appliances from the Home Depot. You just sign right here.
Appliances? Honey, if I get new golf clubs, you can get whatever you like.
Right now, get no payments, no interest for 12 months on purchases store-wide of $2.99 or more through Sunday with your Home Depot consumer credit card. Plus, get 10% off your first purchase when you open a new Home Depot credit card account and put it on the card.
Sometimes when you're together, you just can't stand the idea of being apart. Because when you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
The key to winning bike shows is that you've got to know when to go to the chrome.
Absolutely. And that's why Alvarez bikes have everyone else playing catch-up.
Yeah, I got real familiar with their techniques when I was showing bikes back in Dallas.
Take a look at the combination tannage on the flame and the derailleur system here.
That's just good fundamentals.
Oh, yeah. This is the kind of bike you want to stare at for a really long time.
Get expert analysis on the league's biggest stories. Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN, presented by IBM.
Turn it up a notch. 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 Turn it up a notch.
And welcome back to Tulsa. The Golden Hurricane grabbed the early lead, but Oklahoma came roaring back with 2 touchdowns. They lead 14-7 as we go to the second quarter. 1st and 10 for Tulsa. Terrion Adams turns the corner to the 40-yard line. A gain of 7 on first down. Sean McDonough with Chris Spielman. We're pleased to be joined. Cast in the rare role as fan for most of this night by Bob Davie, our ESPN colleague. He'll have the game about an hour and a half away tomorrow over in Arkansas between Kentucky and Arkansas. But how are you enjoying this experience?
You know, when I was a coach, I never understood why fans booed. After being a fan, I can see why. I mean, you spend all that money, you fight to find a place to park, then you finally get your seat, you can't see anything. So if I coach again, I'm going to give them the green light, man. They sacrifice a lot, these fans, to get to these games now.
Adams in trouble and swarmed under back behind the line of scrimmage by Reggie Smith. You were telling us during the break between quarters you couldn't remember the last time you'd actually just sat in the stands as a fan.
Yeah, I don't think I've been on the sidelines really since the Notre Dame game. And I think the thing that jumped out at me being down there, just the eye test, Chris, between these two teams. I mean, Oklahoma compared to Tulsa on the hoof, how they look, height and weight, it's unbelievable now. Oklahoma is a great looking football
Well,
team.
Coach Graham said, he didn't want to look at that team during warm-ups.
That's exactly right.
They passed the eyeball test. The all-buzz team, and they take it to the field.
And the same thing's true for Bob Stoops. Don't look down at Tulsa in pregame because you have a tendency to get overconfident now.
Play clock running out. Smith needs to snap it on 3rd down and 10. They just did beat the play clock. He had a couple receivers open, and that one is juggled and then intercepted. Picked off by Ryan Reynolds after Trey Johnson couldn't come up with it.
There's a true freshman that has a chance to make a play. But Reynolds doesn't give up. He's breaking on the ball from his linebacker. Paul Smith trusts his arm. He could have ran for that 1st down, but he's going to trust his arm and trust his receivers. He's got a chance to make something happen. Reynolds running to the ball, turning into the lumbering fullback once he gets his hands on the rock.
And you see how difficult this Tulsa offense is to just consistently defend, Chris, because they spread you out all over the field. And then Paul Smith is a runner. And like you said right there, he really could have run for some yardage.
He's counting on his guys to make plays. The problem that Tulsa has is their youth at wide receiver. It would have been a tough catch, but one that he's certainly capable of making.
Marcus Granger is the injured Sooner, defensive tackle, sophomore out of Dallas. There were actually a couple receivers open, too, on the last play. He had a receiver open right in front of the Tulsa sideline.
I think the other thing you see being down there, just the dynamics of a team that really has nothing to lose in some ways, Tulsa. Just how loose they are, how they call plays, they kind of let it rip. And then on the other side, it's Oklahoma, who doesn't seem real excited, but let's face it, a lot more pressure on Oklahoma, obviously, than there is Tulsa.
I think it's welcome pressure for Oklahoma. And I know, and anybody knows that, look, you look at this football team in Oklahoma, as far as balance as offense, defense, special teams, but you match your skilled people up with anybody in the country as a group or a unit. I had a chance to go out and see California and Tennessee, and California skilled people, from the quarterbacks to the receivers to the running backs. There's not a weakness, and that's what's familiar with the Oklahoma offense.
Well, I think you talk about Oklahoma, and I did their spring game. The thing you see, Oklahoma, what separates them from the other four, they have a chip on their shoulder. You look at LSU, Florida, USC, they all won their bowl game. Where Oklahoma got embarrassed now by Tulsa, and Bob Stoops had to live with that all spring, off season. So you take a talented team that has a major chip on their shoulder. That's why you better watch OU now.
Yeah, when the subject of the bowl loss in the Fiesta Bowl to Boise State came up in our conversation this week, he bristled at it. He said way too much has been made about that. He said Boise State was a very good football team, and for a lot of last year, people were saying we weren't a very talented Oklahoma team. He said, I thought we accomplished a lot last year that got lost because of the ending. He made a good point about Boise State. He said, all year people said, they're really good. They don't get enough credit. Then they win a game, everybody says it's a huge upset.
Man, Chris knows. Don't underestimate from January, February, March, off-season conditioning program, all those things. That chip on their shoulder mentality with this team, that's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, I think it will. It's almost worth the sacrifice. You never want to lose a ball game, but
exactly.
If you do lose it, what are you going to do with that loss? Are you going to go in the tank, or are you going to motivate?
Because you know what? Oklahoma wasn't a great team last year. They were fortunate to get to a BCS bowl game. So I think you make a great point there. All of a sudden, if they win that game, they start thinking they're a little better than they are. They almost had to go back and start over with a bunch of young, talented guys now.
And I think Coach Stoops, the fact that he reacted like he did, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to lose by.
Well, he's just tired of hearing about it. He felt like too much was made of it, that somehow they lost in a huge upset when he felt Boise State didn't get enough credit for being the very good team that they were. And he was proud of what they accomplished last year, and all that got lost. They took a wide receiver, basically, and made him a quarterback right before the start of the year. Paul Thompson last year won the Big 12 and went to a BCS bowl game.
I got to ask you one question, man. Chris, did you get Sean up this morning for that workout that I saw up in Bristol back in August? You had him on that off-season program. Did he get up this morning and get it done?
I'll let him speak for that.
I know the answer if you don't let him.
If it keeps up like this, you'll be calling me McDiesel by the end of the year. I am definitely a convert to the skin and workout program and by strapping 5'9", 170 pounds. Alan Patrick, the ball carrier on first down for Oklahoma after the interception. Well, you saw the numbers. you know, it's very early in the season. Oklahoma is ranked very impressive in the top 3 in both offense and defense in total yardage. But some will say, you know, they haven't played a very hard schedule. I think a lot of people have a lot more respect for Miami and the Sooners win over them after what the Canes did last night to Texas A&M. Bradford dumps it off short to Patrick. 2 spin moves, brutal tackling. And finally, John Destin gets him down near the 15-yard line. If they're going to whiff like that tackling all night, it will be a short night. This will be over quickly.
Again, this is the Alan Patrick. Sam Bradford makes a correct read, but circle X, spin move on PlayStation.
You know, Sean, I talked to Bob Stoops about his team because the points you made, they really haven't played anyone. But Bob Stoops knows. He loves the chemistry of this team. He said regardless of who they put in against Utah State, no blown assignments. So from top to bottom, they're well coached, and he loves this team. And to me, that says it all. If Bob Stoops puts his stamp on a team,
well, it says something about the depth too, and that's the luxuries that the USC's, Ohio State's, LSU's, Oklahoma's have. I mean, when their guys, their replacements come in, it's not like they're tweeners or guys that Oklahoma's the only Division I offer that they have. Yeah. I mean, they're recruiting All-Americans to become All-Americans.
And don't think the Tulsa kids don't know that too. So when they came out early, Tulsa, they didn't really think they had a chance. But then that first touchdown led them to think they had a chance. You have to wonder where they are right now, mindset-wise.
This Brown carried for 2 on first down. Now Bradford throws short. Malcolm Kelly breaks 1 tackle and gets near the first down marker. Steve Craver knocked him out. Bob Stoops has reason to be very positive about his team, and he said, to this point, 3-0, we've probably played as well as any team I've had. He said, but all the best teams that I've had got better as the season went along. That will be the challenge, but he has a very good-looking redshirt freshman quarterback, 3 outstanding running backs, a terrific group of wide receiver, maybe the best wide receiver in the country in Kelly, one of the best offensive lines in the country, and they say that the tight end group is the best position group on the offense. Other than that, they got a lot of holes. Murray, a touchdown.
Well, one of the things that suffers is because of the 20-hour rules, technique, and tackling, and I've been preaching this for 2 years. Tackling stinks. John Destin has a chance to come up here and make a play. The problem is he goes low, puts his head down, and tries to tackle the ankles. You have to tackle high, see your target, make a shot. You're going to see John Destin come on block. Chance to make a play. Loses his footing. You're a defensive back. You can't lose your footing. Come up and whack him.
I agree with you 100%. And the problem Tulsa has, their defense practices against that spread wide open offense every day in practice. They never get a chance to line up and be physical.
Marco Murray, a 4-yard touchdown run. And the Sooners lead 21-7.
They pick up touchdowns, pick up the bucks, and pick up their teams. Enterprise salutes NCAA student athletes for picking us all up. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Tommy.
Marco?
Love the jacket.
Do you?
Yes.
$90.
What?
Ooh, nice tie.
Thanks. $12.
Double cheeseburger, $1.
The McDonald's Double Cheeseburger, one of the extravagant choices on the dollar menu. Are you a dollar millionaire?
The Mitsubishi Outlander. Out everything. Everything. Get your Outlander with 1.9% APR at the Mitsubishi Time to Rally event.
Get away from her, you. This thing just won't move. All I want to do is kick back and enjoy the direct TV we just hooked up. I mean, I just got the best TV package in the universe for free. This is going to feel almost as good as when I got rid of cable.
Ask how to get our best TV package free for 4 months.
When you
open a Samuel Adams lager and begin to pour it out, you get this beautiful amber color, and you put your nose in it, and you get the smell of flowers called hops.
We use noble hops. They are expensive, but it's a better quality ingredient for Boston Lager.
Most brewers have a dash of hops.
We use a pound of hops per barrel.
We add some caramel malt to that. Significant full flavor, but everything is there in balance.
The proof is in the taste.
Oklahoma spotted Tulsa 7-0 lead with 21 unanswered points for the Sooners. And they lead 21-7 with 12:18 to go in the first half here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. As Oklahoma tries to make a claim for #1, Notre Dame trying to avoid the distinction of being the worst offensive team in the country, at least statistically to this point. That's what they have been. Last in the nation in points, total yards, and rush yards. And with 39 offensive possessions this season, have not scored a touchdown. Each of the other 118 bowl subdivision teams have scored at least 2 offensive touchdowns. Here's Charles Davis bringing back the Garrett Hartley kickoff to the 23-yard line. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, one former Notre Dame coach, Bob Davie, nice enough to join us here in person. And we welcome in another former head coach of the Irish from our studios in Bristol, Connecticut, Lou Holtz. Good evening, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you, gentlemen.
Coach Holtz, how surprised are you by what's going on so far this year in Notre Dame?
Oh, I think, and I'm like everybody else, you have to be surprised. You did expect them to be an outstanding team because they're young, had to replace an awful lot of people. I don't think anybody, including the coaching staff at Notre Dame, expected a sudden demise. But the thing that Bob will know and be able to testify to as a coach, you don't know how bad it is. You know, you may have 10 guys playing outstanding football, and it's one guy here, one guy there, that screws up the play each and every time. However, now if 11 guys are fouling up, then you got some real problems. So I can't tell you how bad it is, except statistically, it is pretty bad. Bob, is it possible that the talent level at Notre Dame could be that bad? I know you coach Holtz near the end of his tenure particularly, and you have battled a lot of issues to get players to Notre Dame. There are a lot of advantages there, but there are some disadvantages as well. Is it possible that talent could be that bad?
Well, Sean, I don't really think you can say that, because a year ago, with Brady Quinn and Jeff Samardzija, what, they have 6 or 7 players drafted. They've recruited extremely well. But, you know, the amazing thing to me, you know, when you're coaching, you're in that bunker mentality. Now that I'm out in the public, it's amazing how many people talk about Notre Dame when it's going bad. You know, a year ago, I went through the same airports. They were in a BCS bowl game. Nobody said much. But now that it's going bad, particularly because those statistics are so shocking, it's amazing how many people talk about it.
Some of the big hitters for Tulsa trying to get back in the game. This one 18 yards to Jesse Myers. Had a very nice night. And it's a first down for Tulsa at the Oklahoma 48-yard line. 11:11 to go first half. 21-7 Sooners. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Bob Davie, and over the telephone, Lou Holtz. 6 catches now for Meyer for 87 yards. And in this no-huddle spread, Paul Smith has the Golden Hurricane up quickly. Notre Dame has been playing football since 1887. They've never started a season 0-4. They're looking at that as a distinct possibility should they lose at home tomorrow to Michigan State. Deep ball, and the receiver's open. Touchdown! Brennan Marion. Flag thrown in the end zone after the touchdown. Wendy Holmes in coverage, but Marion, the fastest player on the Tulsa team, he runs the 4.440, got behind Holmes.
Did this by setting up, and you see Marion just taking off on a takeoff route. Holmes peeking inside, rules of safety. Deepest the deepest, especially you're in zone, but it was set up, and the protection was set up by bringing Wade Whitlow over.
Play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 4 on the offense. 15-yard penalty being forced on the kickoff. Touchdown's good.
To play the tight end position, they did a semi-roll, and Paul Smith just waited. Then he threw the strike to Marion. Now, you got to control and not do the unsportsmanlike conduct, because that will put Oklahoma at the 50-yard line when this play gets started again.
And Sean, how many Notre Dame fans out there saying, see, it can't be that hard, can it? That was Tulsa against Oklahoma right there.
Yeah. Extra point up and good by Jared Tracy. Well, Lou, we've heard you give a lot of pep talks to a variety of teams. It's kind of become a regular feature of our college football coverage that we're enjoying. If you were still the head coach of the Irish, what would you be saying to your team now?
Help. First of all, let me make a comment about talent, and then I'll tell you what I would say to the football team. Notre Dame has talent. First year in Notre Dame, we might have had as good a talent as we had when we won it 2 years later. The difference was they didn't know the system, hadn't bought into it, etc. And the thing we have to understand as a football coach and as parents, when people need love and understanding the most is usually when they deserve it the least. And that's the same thing I feel about this Notre Dame football team. You don't need to beat on them, bang on them. The thing we got to do is figure out what the problem is, hold people accountable. Are we step with the right foot? We're doing the things fundamentally that we need to do. You just don't want to pound on them, etc. But I do believe that Notre Dame will bounce back. You look at next year's schedule, you look at the young talent, it's just a question of being patient. And the one thing that I know about the Notre Dame family, the tougher the situation is, the more that family will rally around one another. I'm not talking about the Subway alumni, but I promise you, in that stadium on Saturday, there'll be more support for Notre Dame than if they were 5-0.
DeMarco Murray returned the kickoff. Ricky Drake had the kickoff. Because of the penalty from the 20, the kickoff returned to the 13.
You know, I think one thing that you have to correct, though, and I got into this situation, but I was a defensive coach, you have to have an identity on offense. And what I see Notre Dame being right now, they want to attack every weakness that defense has. So they wait week to week on Sunday to find out what the defense is, or they wait till the defense gets lined up to see what play they want to run. At some point, you better line up and be what you are, and in my opinion, line up and run the football. That's what Notre Dame football, just like Ohio State football, was built on, Chris. At some point, have an identity and line up and run the football.
Bill John Finley, the reception to the 35-yard line, gain of 17. Here's what Notre Dame has coming up. A lot of people are saying they're looking at 0-8.
Well, yeah, it possibly could be unless they find that identity. But you see, if you don't have an identity, and as you said, Coach, you're trying to attack weaknesses, and maybe Charlie's still adjusting to becoming a college head football coach because Charlie doesn't have 12-hour days to work with his players because of their commitment to school and the 20-hour work week. Now, I understand talent, but if talent isn't being, the fact that they have talent doesn't mean that they're producing. They're not getting talent to produce, and that's the problem. They've had 2 top 10 recruiting classes in the past 2 years. Though some of those kids are in their 3rd year. If they're not playing, then their talent is not talent, in my opinion. That's a little harsh, but you guys know better than I do, but I only know what I see.
Penalty against Oklahoma has the ball back at the 38-yard line.
Left guard on the offense. 5 yards, first down.
Wiped out the big game of the penalty, and now another penalty. We're moving back 5 more.
And I do think this week is the key week in Notre Dame football because they're 0-3. You drastically changed your plan and you drastically changed your practice schedule. When you take a team out on Sunday in full pads after the kind of loss they had, you open up the positions, you get physical, you go back to camp, you better have success. And one more thing I learned, I was 0-3 my last year. We came back and got it to 3-3, but we ran out of gas late in the season because, Chris, you know from playing at Ohio State, it is mentally exhausting on those guys right now, those players at Notre Dame.
And that's when they got to galvanize and get around each other.
Chamberlain. Tackle and face by Chris Chamberlain. He takes down Alan Patrick. Virtually no gain on the play. Coach Holtz, we're going to let you get back to work. Thank you so much for the visit.
Well, thank you. One last thing I'd like to say, as Bob knows, our main adjustment was we adjusted our chin strap. We're going to do what we know how to do, and it's up to you to stop us. Thank you for having me.
All right, Lou, thank you. Yeah, sooner or later, you're Notre Dame. You should be dictating to the other team and not the other way around.
And I'll tell you a story about Lou Holtz on offense that I learned my first year as defensive coordinator.
Bradford, after the fake, has his man short of a first down, Iglesias. But he got a bundle of it back to the 45-yard line, 22 yards, about 3 yards short of the first down.
Just one last story on that point. Coach Holtz didn't care if the defense knew the snap count. The offense was going on the same snap count. He didn't care if they knew the play on defense or not. He was going to line up and run that play. And because of that, guys on offense knew what they were doing, and they believed in it.
You get them big linemen to get their weight on their fingertips, the rear ends up, and come off the ball.
Oklahoma leads here with 10 minutes to go till halftime. They're up 21-14. 3rd down and 3. Iglesias wide open. They played off him with 3 yards to go for a first down. Destin got him out of bounds. But it's a first down inside the 40. 5 catches already, 85 yards for Joaquin Iglesias.
Yeah, they're working Destin over. And I'll tell you, that was a great route. And you see the adjustments and the growth and the experience of the wide receivers. They ran the quick slant, but hold up. They didn't finish the quick slant. He turned it back into an option route. And Bradford delivers the ball before receivers are out of their cuts. It makes them more dangerous.
That's impressive for a redshirt freshman to throw before the cut. Have the faith in yourself and the receiver. Might have lost a little faith on Quentin Chaney, who couldn't come up with a throw that wasn't perfect, and you saw Bradford pointing at himself.
You see right here what I mean. Bradford's going to deliver the ball with the recognition of the coverage. He's throwing the ball before his receiver is taken off, and Chamberlain gets a little bit in the throwing lane, but opportunities to make plays, make it. But I love the fact, and Coach talked about this, Kevin Wilson talked about this, and Coach Stoops about the anticipation of Sam Bradford that wasn't there in training camp. But once he got to work with these talented, skilled position players of Oklahoma, he's starting to trust his arm. Then you can start delivering the ball and throwing people open as opposed to waiting for people to get open to throw the ball.
Yeah,
you throw them open.
The thing I love about Sam Bradford, that quick release. But nobody's talking about Brett Bomar. Was that the quarterback's name last year that left before the season? I mean, it's all about Sam Bradford. We look at Kevin Wilson right there. He's done a great job now as offensive coordinator.
As he says, it's a quarterback-friendly offense, but you still have to step in and execute. And Bradford has. How about his accuracy? At one point this season, he completed 22 in a row. His final 18 passes against North Texas in the opener, and the first 4 against Miami. That broke Jason White's school record by 4 completions in a row. And then he had another streak of 21 completions in a row, the last 10 against Miami and the first 11 last week against Utah State. So he's broken that record twice in 3 games. And on target to Gresham, the tight end, tumbles forward near another first down. Remain a sophomore, chopped down by Chris Chamberlain. Nine yards on the gain. And another third down here. 3rd down and 1. Field goal range.
Gresham, that tight end's bigger than Tulsa's lineman. Yeah. I mean, I stood next to him on the field, Chris. It was unbelievable how big he is.
And listen at 6'5", 263. Around the first down to the 21-yard line. Here's Joe.
Sean, Todd Graham has been pleading with his defense nonstop. Just hang in there. We're going to score points against Oklahoma. He said it over and over again. Please just hang in. We're going to score tonight.
Easier said than done.
Especially when he gave up 695 to BYU last week.
And I'm seeing Duke Robinson at 352 pulling around like a sprinter.
Yeah, they need to tackle better, for sure. And they have so far tonight. Bradford off the fake. Touchdown! Jermaine Gresham. That big target Bob was talking about. 21-yard strike thrown by Bradford with Randy Duncan in coverage. And it's back to a 2-touchdown edge for the Sooners.
Well, again, you're going to see Gresham right here release inside. And if you have a 2 deep, what they do have on, and you don't jam the inside receivers, it's too easy and there's too much pressure placed on the safeties. And the most impressive thing about that play, Gresham hold on to that football after taking a shot from Randy Duncan.
The 3rd touchdown reception of the year. Gresham had 8 catches in their win against Miami. Scored Hartley the extra point. 8:50 to go till halftime. Oklahoma up by 14 again.
Hey, you got some stuff.
It's not stuff, Meredith. It's an Oreo dessert pizza mustache.
Yeah, you get it whenever you eat Domino's new Oreo dessert pizza. Mine's just not as full.
Give it time, Kevin. It'll fill out.
You really think so?
I think so. I know so.
Domino's new warm and chocolatey Oreo dessert pizza. Just $3.99 with any purchase. Call or order online.
Why did we give the new Eclipse a 263 horsepower Myvec V6? Because. Now get 0% APR or a $2,000 factory rebate at the Mitsubishi Time to Rally event.
Hi, I'm Michael Norberg of Cornerstone Homes. As you know, it's a buyer's market out there. Buyers today are pretty well able to name their own price and terms. That's why I'm inviting you to go to cornerstonehome.com, where you'll find homes that we must sell below our cost. These homes are ready for you to move into immediately. You will also find online incentives that will save you thousands more. So go to cornerstonehome.com and I'll see you there.
We've all seen too many shredded and blown out tires littering our highways. In order to cut costs, some manufacturers have left out important safety features that help keep the tread on the tire. Many people have been injured or killed because of this. If you've been seriously injured, you may not be aware of everything that caused it. That's why Goldberg and Osborne is here. We hire the experts to find the truth. 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Jermaine Gresham, 21-yard touchdown reception, capping a 52-yard drive in 7 plays. Oklahoma leads 28-14. They came in having made 19 plays on offense of 20 yards or more in their first 3 games. They've had 6 already tonight of 20-plus. That's 25 plays of 20 or more, and they're not even a halftime of their 4th game of the year. That's amazing.
It's an amazing statistic, but what it does say is, again, the amount of choices that Bradford has, it just keeps getting better and better. Then you throw a tight end in the mix, which isn't often a big factor in college football. Creates a lot of problems for defensive matchups.
Charles Davis brings the kickoff back to the 30. There's Gus Malzahn, the offensive coordinator. Todd Graham saying he thinks they're going to score. He has great faith in this no-huddle spread offense. He was a successful high school coach in the state of Arkansas, won state championships, was brought to Arkansas last year to be the offensive coordinator, but they didn't really let him run his offense. They weren't a no-huddle spread. He came here largely for the chance to run his offense, what he wants to do.
Well, first of all, Sean, when you hire a high school coach and bring him in and he brings 4 prospects with him, some who, Mitch Mustaine, maybe the #1 prospect in the country, it's going to be controversial, particularly when your philosophy as a head coach doesn't match what he does on offense, and he's going to be your offensive coordinator. So almost no chance in that scenario for that to work at Arkansas last year.
So he left, Mitch Mustaine left ahead of him. At the time Todd Graham got this job, he didn't think Gus Malzahn would come here. He actually hired Herb Hand out of West Virginia to be the offensive coordinator, and he called Gus Malzahn. He said, I need a quarterback coach, preferably a young guy, good recruiter. Gus said, let me think about it, I'll call you back. A couple days later, Gus Malzahn called back and said, I'd like that job if you'll have me. And Todd Graham said, if I'm going to have Gus Malzahn, he has to be my coordinator, so he shares the role with Herb Hand. They had to find some money to pay both of them, and the athletic department did their job. Bubba Cunningham, the AD. Austin English with a 2nd sack of Paul Smith.
Well, it's tough to run that spread offense down at Arkansas when you have Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. Exactly. All right, hey, boys, you go out and run some hitch passes. No, you give those horses the ball and let them do their work.
And you know what? That's a fair question. And I asked Houston Nutt today, why did you hire him then? But I also
the recruits.
Well, yeah, but I also see Houston Nutt's side of it in that they did run this spread offense last year, Chris, early in the season. Now, I see Gus's side because they abandoned that offense after 3 games. So I do see both sides of the situation. But you almost have no chance if you're Gus Malzahn.
No.
Terrion Adams, the catch, went out of bounds, apparently short of the marker. It would be 4th down. And I think with the confidence that Graham has in his offense and the shaky defense, don't you have to go for this?
Oh, absolutely. I think you guys just to give your defense hopefully a rest.
But here's the thing. What do? I saw them on 4th and 1 early in the game when they're up 7-0 down here. That's the problem with these offenses. What do you run? They went quarterback counter, Chris, on 4th and 1 early in the game. They have no running game.
What I do, I put trips to one side, single up a receiver, and let him work a slant. If the guy's off, if he's pressed, I run the fade and take my shot.
Yeah, because you're committed to throwing. I agree. Don't try to run it all of a sudden in the most critical situation because you can't.
Well, in 4th and 1 from their own 40, they're going to punt.
After all that.
Yeah, I understand that. You're asking your defense to hang in there because you're pretty certain they might not be able to. Your offense is your strength. You got to get in a scoring match. Then you don't try to keep the ball and score. 36-yard punt.
Why would we put a sport tuned suspension and magnesium paddle shifters on a Lancer?
Another lap? Let's do it.
Because get a great deal on the rally-inspired Lancer at the Mitsubishi Time to Rally event.
I'm so sorry I cannot aid this sickness any longer. This is a $3 billion lawsuit.
They killed him, Michael. You hired him because he's brilliant.
What sickness is he talking about?
I know what you did. How I turned. Somehow he turned. We have a situation.
I don't know what the hell it is you think you're doing.
What do you think I'm doing?
That guy right there, stop him.
You got your heart racing, don't I?
Michael Clayton, rated R. Starts Friday, October 5th in select cities. October 12th everywhere.
If you think all batteries are the same, consider this. When even the firefighters have to get out, they depend on the T-Pass 3 communicator. And packed inside every T-Pass is the only battery they trust. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
Great gear, great deals, and the great outdoors all meet up at Bass Pro Shops. This week, save up to 66% on select men's and ladies' sportswear, and Rocky Prowler boots are only $69.88. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
When it's people who do the right thing, they call it being responsible. When it's a home insurance company, they call it Liberty Mutual. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual.
And the other kid. It's got to be 5'11".
Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Bob Davie, and Joe Shad back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Golden Hurricane on their home field down by 2 touchdowns, and it's Oklahoma's ball.
A 350 right there, 220 right there. Take a look.
Good road hope.
350 wins.
Yeah, smothering the freshman, Odrick Ray. He was a wide receiver in high school. That's why he's number 80. He might want to go back to being a wide out after Mr. Lodeholt just ran him into the turf.
And he's shaking his head. He's getting baptized a little bit. But, you know, if you're going to put a 220-pound guy up against 350, you move him. You don't say run off and hit the big offensive tackle. I mean, you don't get in a certain match with a skunk. You know what I mean, Sean, by that? Good. You got it.
I'm with you. Patrick again. First down and much more. Finally taken down near the 30-yard line. Here's another reason why I don't think you punt, because you know this is likely to happen again. 33 yards on the run by Patrick.
Chris, I know you're not a big fan of this 3-3 stack defense because there's huge caverns in there in the inside running game.
Yeah, it's the bubbles. I mean, it's just double the nose, chip off on a linebacker, and you don't have support. You're all right on the flanks, but up the middle, and when you're playing a team that runs up the middle, you might want to do a little bit of adjusting. You can go to a bear front with 2-3 techniques to help yourself.
Back-to-back 100-yard-plus games for Patrick.
Attaboy.
Brown hit hard by Chamberlain, lost it. The officials now saying incomplete. You saw the hesitation from the linesman at the bottom of your screen looking for help, and they ruled incomplete pass as Chamberlain belted it out, but apparently Brown never had. Well, he had it.
Yeah. And Chris Chamberlain does a good job of leading with those screws in the helmet, putting it right on the football and running through the tackle. You see him bring his feet on the hit. And that's the type of play, those type of close calls need to go Tulsa's way to get their offense on the field.
And there's a penalty as well. I believe roughing the passer, the call against Tulsa. Apparently the ref's mic is not working. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because of that penalty. Oklahoma would have kept the ball. The walk-off to the 15. 4 penalties, 50 yards against Tulsa. When they actually hit you, they hit pretty hard, this Tulsa defense. They whiffed with great frequency as well. Chamberlain again into the tackle, this time of DeMarco Murray. Matter of fact, Coach Graham said last week, and we saw some of the films, they had 14 we called knockout shots against BYU. They did put a lot of good licks. He said even the kicker and the punter had a knockout shot.
Well, they do, and it's just, you know, that's the nature of the defense. It's tough to defend against 320 pounds of beef coming off the ball when you have 3 down linemen and your secondary players or your back players in your front 7 are 3 and 4 yards off the ball. There's just natural caverns created, like here.
DeMarco Murray slithers down to the 6, a yard short of the first down. Alan Karatapian made the tackle.
You know, you talk about, and it's so hard to judge who has the best offensive line in the country. But I know this. I'll make this statement. There is none better than this Oklahoma offensive line. I mean, the difference you see is the height and the athleticism of these guys. I mean, Robinson, look at Lowell. That's the biggest human being in the country right there, Chris. That's 6'8", 370 pounds. Robinson, next to him's 330.
Yeah. And they're all juniors. They'll all be back next year. The 2 key backups who rotate in at guard and tackle, Brian Simmons and Trent Williams, are both sophomores. Flag down at the play stands. It's first down for Chris Brown.
Yeah, Odrick Ray got a little excited. And again, that's because they're moving him. You don't want to match him up. You want to give him a chance to fight by putting him on the move.
Number 80 on the defense. That'll be half the distance to the goal. Penalty yardage is good for a first down.
I just want to make, and you know, the 3-3-5 can work in Conference USA because the athletes are a little bit more equal. But when you're playing the number 4 team in the country, it's just a little bit difficult when they're pounding you. And that's the weakness of the defense, and that's the strength of Oklahoma's offense. That's why you see them hitting it up the middle.
The thing I like about Oklahoma, you know, Oklahoma was a spread team. Mike Leach was the offensive coordinator, as you guys know, when Bob Stoops first took the job. But now they're balanced and they can run. You know, right there, just a 2-back ISO kind of play. And you know what, Chris, you made the point. You have to do what you have to do. I mean, Tulsa probably has to be a spread offense to try to move the football. I mean, it's a small school. There's only 4,000 students. Even against Conference USA teams, they're going to have some problems maybe matching up. But at some point, don't you have to run the football a little bit in college football?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't care, Chris. I mean, right?
I'm with you.
We talked about that 2-back rule. I think there ought to be an NCAA rule. 25 times a game you have to put 2 backs in the backfield and run the ball.
It'd be old school.
Patrick got them down to the 1-yard line. Patrick gets the call again. He's into the end zone. Ian Pleasant with a good block. He was in at fullback. And the route apparently is on with 4:07 to go till halftime. Already 34 points on the board for Coach Stoops. Sooners with the extra point still to come.
The old power oak play, and watch Duke Robinson at 72 pull up and lead the way. And the problem is he gets his big weight going. Look at him. He's 350 pounds himself. He doesn't have to block anybody because nobody's in the hole to hit him. But anytime you have an athlete that moves that well at that size, there's going to be a lot of space to run to.
They can't find any volunteers to get in front of him.
Yeah.
Extra point good by Hartley. Alan Patrick already over 100 yards in the half and into the end zone to cap that drive for Oklahoma.
This is Conference USA, home to strong students and smart athletes from 12 great universities.
Go, let's go!
Together, they're building traditions of competition and rivalry that will continue for generations. They are ready to compete and play hard for their loyal fans. Sportsmanship and commitment to excellence run deep in our house. Welcome to Conference USA. Sportsmanship lives here.
A lot of things make the University of Tulsa great. Motivated students, a faculty that inspires, a beautiful residential campus. But it's the value of our private education that makes us truly unique. Come check us out. We're the University of Tulsa.
74-yard drive after Todd Graham elected to punt on 4th down and 1 from his own 40. Seemed just about inevitable.
Did you think that was the right call?
I think it was the right call. And I think it goes against everything he said.
You got that message, didn't you, Chris?
Charles Davis runs it back. Then again, we had his bowl game last year. He told us what a great place Rice was, and there isn't any reason why you can't win there. And then a week later, he's here as the head coach. So, anyway.
I'll tell you what, they paid him about $1 million to come here.
Yeah, he had a lot of reasons to come. I'm not saying that, but anyway, here's Dari Noka with a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
All right, guys, coming up on the Olive Garden halftime report, Mark May, Lou Holtz join me. 3 big games in the SEC Saturday, 3 big picks from those 2 gentlemen. Also discuss Notre Dame. Where is the fight in the Fighting Irish? And big news out of San Francisco. It involves Barry Bonds in 2008. Guys, we'll see you at the half.
All right, Dari, thank you. On 1st down, Paul Smith swings it for Tarian Adams with some running room, and he gets knocked out of bounds. Took a pretty good shot from DJ Wolf and Curtis Lofton. 8 yards on the play. No timeouts for Tulsa in the remainder of the half.
Oh, and Tulsa's going to fight you, and they believe in their offense. If they can get it down to 14 and get something happening on defense, whether it's turnovers or some type of action, they got hurt a little bit by that close call, but their offense will move the football.
Thank you, Jamad Williams, the redshirt freshman. Smith throws it up in a double coverage, and it's broken up and nearly intercepted by Lindy Holmes. It was intended for Brennan Marion.
And Marion actually does a good job of converting to the defensive back and getting in between 2 Oklahoma defenders. You don't want to get greedy here. Again, a lot of your stuff has been open in the intermediate routes. Go ahead and use the intermediate routes. Don't throw in a double coverage. You don't need that right now. Paul Smith's decision-making has been pretty on target and on time all night.
Smith throws off his back foot, and what a throw it is to Charles Clay. Out of bounds inside the 20. Marked out at the 18-yard line of Oklahoma.
Well, that's the matchup that they want. When you get Charles Clay matched up on anybody underneath besides the corner, he's going to make them pay. Charles Clay lined up in the fullback position in the offset eye, and you see him throw the ball open just where he needs to throw it. Actually beats Reggie Smith, the corner, the All-American corner, and Charles Clay gets those big, long strides, and he's one of those guys that when he runs, he doesn't look like he's running, except he's a space eater.
Smith sacked back at the 21-yard line. After a 53-yard gain, a loss on the play of about 3. Nick Harris came from the secondary for the sack.
I'll tell you what, in this offense, you better have a quarterback. As you see Paul Smith go out the wide receiver right here, you better have a quarterback that's an athlete, because he's going to take some shots in this offense.
There's that Wildcat formation again with Chamberlain in the backfield. His arm got hit as he threw it. Tried to find Tarian Adams. Well, Bob, this is what we're talking about at Arkansas. This is one thing Gus Malzahn brought to Arkansas that he left behind with Darren McSpadden. And we'll probably see it tomorrow in your game, 6 o'clock right here on ESPN2 when Arkansas hosts Kentucky.
Yeah, you see trends in college football, Chris. Everybody in the country, including Charlie Weiss, is putting a running back at quarterback now, direct snap, at least a couple times in the game. You think coaches are copycats now?
Yeah, single win.
Hasn't worked well for them tonight. Smith to Adams, and a good open field ankle tackle by DJ Wolf when it looked like Adams might escape. Who do you like in your game tomorrow night? I know we won't have to make a prediction because you're covering it, but Kentucky coming off the big win, Arkansas off a tough loss.
Yeah, I mean, the team with the shortest memory, right, probably bounces back, but I go with the team that can run the football as dynamic as I think Arkansas can. Now, Kentucky's balanced. Great quarterback, great scheme, but I tell you, those two running backs at Arkansas, Chris.
Well, Raphael Little from Kentucky can carry the rock a little bit too. But you're right.
But I'm talking about physical now. McFadden will pound you.
Jared Tracy missed a 35-yarder knuckleball. I'm not sure 3 points would have helped a lot the way the defense is playing either, but not as much of a choice that time. And there's the information on the game, Kentucky at Arkansas. Kentucky 3-0 off the big win over their rival Louisville, and they are having trouble stopping the run, which doesn't bode well when you're going up against McFadden and Jones.
And I see right now McFadden, the leader in the ESPN poll for the Heisman. I can see why. I mean, he was a runner-up last year. He had, what, 193 against Alabama. Didn't play the last 9 minutes. They put him at quarterback in the Wild Hog thing so he gets some publicity out of that.
Here's Alan Patrick ripping through the defense. Out to the 36 and a first down. 16 more for Patrick. 2:14 to go in the half. 2 timeouts left for Oklahoma. And there's very quietly, I think, one of the very good coaching jobs that's been done in the last 5 years. Rich Brooks went into a mess. No recent tradition in football and the NCAA stuff. And a lot of people said he's a lousy choice. He's a West Coast guy. He's in Kentucky. And all of a sudden, he has a very good team.
Well, because Kentucky is a beautiful place, great facilities. The problem is, though, they have Ohio State to the north when they go recruiting, and they have all those SEC teams to the south. But I think, again, Mitch Barnhart, the AD, you got to give him a lot of credit. Showed patience. Kind of like Iowa did with Kirk Ferentz when he